course, I grew up on the Mississippi River on the water, and my grandfather and I did what would be called commercial fishing. We didn't call it that. I didn't know that word until I got to Maine. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, you grew up as a commercial fisherman." And I thought about it. I said, "Well, we wild caught and we sold it, so yeah, I guess we did." My son Matthew, my daughter Anna, and I, we own Bangs Island Mussels, an aquaculture farm. And we grow mussels, and we grow seaweed, we grow some scallops.
So we use rafts to grow mussels. The rafts hold ropes that hang in the water, and the mussels grow on those ropes. Each raft is 40 by 40 feet, which means it's only taking up 40 by 40 feet of the ocean surface, and we can grow a really incredible, almost a cube of biomass underneath each raft. The way we grow mussels is physically demanding. There's no doubt about that. One of the reasons for that is it allows us to grow mussels that are different and we think better than other mussels out there. It also allows us to do other things like to use a very small footprint of the ocean. And the fact that that's a family business, feels really good to me. But I don't want the family aspect of the business to be exclusive. We own it and we're running it. I think the cool part about that is that we don't have other influences instead of the profit generating motivation that potentially shareholders would bring. Sometimes I feel like when you talk too much about a family business, it can feel exclusive, exclusionary, particularly to our crew. 15 or so of them now that are not in the family, but are crucial to making this business operate and incredibly important. And I feel very strongly about all of them.
I don't think we've ever had anyone with actual mussel farming experience. A lot of people find it enjoyable and they think they want to work here because they like to be on the water, is what they're ultimately looking for. They really want to get some water experience.
I'm the harvest boat captain for Bangs Island Mussels, but I grew up in Massachusetts, so I thought, all right, how do I get closer to my nieces? I should probably move back east somewhere. And I'd been to Maine growing up, so I always was like, I could live there. From there, I typed in agriculture on Indeed, and aquaculture popped up. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. Let's look it up, figure it out, and then it seemed like a really cool deal. Just about done loading up now, and that just entails making sure the boat's ready to go, check the fuel this morning, boat's loaded, check the weather. Should be a good day out there. So same deal as last time, we're harvesting at our Bangs Island site. So we got about an hour trip out.
Before they killed somebody, it was like ribbit, bam.
Well, it's always been a dream of mine to work on the water. I went to school at UNE for originally marine policy, basically. And then I worked for the Saco Salmon Restoration Alliance and realized that aquaculture is really what I want to do. I am a deckhand currently with Bangs Island. I've been here. It'll be 5 years in June. I'm the current longest running employee. I've done everything in the company though. I started in the processing room on land, worked my way into managing that, and then I talked to Matt about potentially moving to the water, and he took a chance on me being a super green deckhand, and I've learned a lot.
Yeah, love it out here. It's one of the best jobs I've ever had for sure. It's definitely hard work. Definitely been kind of a tough season this year since we're a little short on product for sure. But, just getting out here every day, giving people awesome mussels is definitely beneficial, especially when we see them at the restaurants and stuff like that. Right now I'm kind of point guy on our helping keep the ducks away from the nets, which is good because they're their biggest predators, and kind of a battle there for sure. We have to have a balance between, you know, keeping everything out in the water safe and living with everything out here, you know. Well, the great thing is around here for sure is, even though there is a lot of competition, there's also a lot of collaboration between everybody working on the waterfront. For example, like there's other mussel businesses, and we actually collaborate on certain issues that we're having that other places might not be having, solutions that they might have that we don't have to try out, you know, because this is how we make our living, and the best way to keep it sustainable, in my opinion, is for everybody to work together.
This is the original site too. This is Bangs Island in the background here. This was what started the whole dream. This is what started it all.
They're all together in a clump, and that machine that it's called the declumper, it takes clumps and it declumps them, makes them not clumpy anymore. Or the arrowhead crab?
They're the same thing.
They're the same thing. How about that?
It's an arrowhead is the name, but it's a spider crab.
Well, we're gonna put him back, but he's pretty cool looking. Look at those legs. Go, be free. Outcompete the green crab. The green crab's invasive. This is a good one. This is a good guy. Really try to pick through just the best mussels, you know, right place, right time. And I wasn't sure if we would be able to with the wind out of the north. We're kind of taking it on the side of the boat, but it worked out well. Really textbook harvest, nothing broke, which is amazing. Expected.
I am the land crew manager at Bangs Island Mussels. So I run the processing room, do all the packaging, bagging, and tagging, and I've been with Bangs for a year and a half, since I think July 2021. We harvest 2 days a week right now, Mondays and Wednesdays, and so we also process and package those mussels the same exact day for freshness. What we do here is then we finalize them with a hand inspection to make sure the machines didn't miss anything. They get bagged and tagged and then put on ice. My team can really focus on looking at broken mussels and then mussels that are of a smaller size that we could then put back down to continue to grow it out, and then we'll harvest it later.
And then we have our devisser, which basically pulls the bit of the mussel. If you pull it in any other direction other than directly down, you could kill the mussel, and the devisser does that. And so instead of having to do that all by hand, it takes out that step. And then it gets graded on a set of rollers there, trying to filter out size, and then onto the line for a hand inspection.
I went to school for sustainability in business, and senior year I focused on sustainable agriculture. Immediately started working at a lettuce farm in kind of central Maine and implementing those skills. I worked as a harvest manager there, running harvests and doing it there, and really just getting a great exposure to ways that you can grow food at a somewhat larger scale, but do it in a way that works for the planet and its people. Trying to find unique and innovative ways to meet the growing demand for food. Population is not slowing down. Climate change is not being mitigated as much as it probably should be. So there are a lot of concerns for food growth and how we're going to be able to meet them as a society.
We're going to try to do a nursery raft, which we've never done before. So we take the mussel spat, microscopic mussels, grow them in the natural water here that's flowing through, not treated or anything, until they're big enough where we can take those droppers and put them now in the ocean in a very protected area. Their shells are thin because of the little ocean acidification. We just have to make sure that we're creating the best environment for them to come up to the size and the strength and the resiliency to go out there on the rafts in the more open water.
So this site potentially is an excellent nursery because mussels, when they're small, when they're seed or just post-settlement larvae, they are vulnerable to wave action or energy in the water. If there's too much, they'll fall off and they'll be lost. They might not die, but we won't have them on our ropes anymore and we can't use them. And we've experienced that before. So we can't just take the mussels out of our remote setting facility and put them on our rafts in the ocean because there's too much energy. Other perks of having a nursery site are they typically are warmer and have more food. So it's like putting mussel seed on steroids. They grow a lot faster. They have more food and the temperature helps them grow faster too. And then there's navigable waters over there and a sandbar. I think I see it. And then to this side of the sandbar is where there's that deep 24-foot hole, which is where we want to put our one mussel raft, our nursery raft.
We can test it for salinity. We can make sure the flow is appropriate. Oh yeah, we're gonna do this. Not really breaking and entering, just fence hopping. Yeah, there it is. That spot right there where it's water bordering on on mud. That's what we want.
Hard to tell, but so far so good. Let's go check out those mussels, see if they're alive.
Oh yeah, that's a mussel. A little stinky. A lot more like a salt marsh, whoops. And it's a nice healthy wild mussel right there. Some barnacles. A nice tire here. Full of live mussels, which is great. Little artificial reef. This is great. This is amazing. This gives me hope.
I have been a resident of Greater Portland now for 56 years, and as I say, in this house for 25 years. I mean, as our name proclaims, Portland, the maritime, the port, the maritime history, the waterfront is critical in terms of this city's story. And having been born before Pearl Harbor, in my youth in Maine, growing up in the 40s and 50s, Maine was really very quiet. Something, as I say, of a backwater in those days. All of that has changed in the last 20, 30 years. Portland has been rediscovered, the old buildings revived. We're in the state of now in the grips of an enormous real estate boom, and it's very hard now for people with modest incomes to live in the city of Portland. We went through this 30, 40 years ago, and when we'd had a previous real estate boom in the 80s, in the 1980s, and we managed to get a ruling from the city council that a certain percentage of the waterfront be kept as working waterfront for the fishery and for the fishing industry. And it's been a battle all along, and real estate developers keep chipping away at it. Rental units are out of sight. Rents are very expensive. It's hard for working people to live in the city. The waterfront today, Commercial Street and the wharves, is all unfilled land. And we began in the 19th century, early 19th century, to fill the tidal area of the harbor that is now Commercial Street. When we get high water, when we have a strong ocean storm, apropos of climate change, at high tide pushing waves, Commercial Street goes underwater. It floods. And all the buildings flood. This has happened several times. It's not the once in a generation kind of thing anymore. It's constant. And this is it happens like every 3 or 4 years. So apropos of that question about climate change, it is a very major deal. And with predicted sea rise, this is, for an area that's filled land, it is a big issue. And we really have not come to grips with how to deal with that, because so much is built down there. Major buildings sit on Commercial Street, and more buildings are going up on Commercial Street and along the water.
Yeah, I mean, Portland Yacht Service, Portland Shipyard here, these are critical to be able to bring the big boats out. I mean, like this. I mean, this is a medium-sized commercial boat for commercial fishing. You just can't take it into any marina and have it go up on the hard like this. It has to have a travel lift like that one. I think that's a 300 metric ton travel lift over there. If you look at the hailing ports on some of the boats, that one is from Massachusetts. So why would they bring that huge boat all the way up here to pull it out for the winter and work on it? Because there isn't enough infrastructure left in Massachusetts for what they need. It's being taken up by more recreational. I mean, there's nothing wrong with recreational. I love recreational boating. All of us do. But It has to be a balance, otherwise you lose this expertise. So they're up here. There are boats from all over, Rhode Island and Connecticut up in here. Some of the ancient indigenous people, red paint people, and including in the modern indigenous, they would come to the coast and they would harvest oysters and mussels. I mean, you could walk on the beach and pick up 2, 3, 4 pound, 5 pound lobsters during the colonial days. So the history for Maine has been fisheries, seafood, shellfish from the very beginning. Where Bangs Island fits into that history and timeline isn't a new branch. It's a continuation of what has always been there, but is now diminishing. Wild stocks in general are diminishing. There are a few successes. Lobster seems to be hanging on really well. Bangs Island is supporting what has already been there and perhaps bumping it up a little bit, even though it has declined so much. And I think that's the important part of this, is that we need to figure out new ways to produce seafood in the historical way that Maine has always provided seafood. Bangs Island is just the latest version of that. Instead of dragging wild caught, we're growing.